Mel, oh, whoops, my bad. He died like a dog. Like, Estarossa! Like, my dude, like, this is straight savage. Like, that man, he's so crusty, he's so savage. It's like, my god. Like, that scene, what he did to Sar and Tar was just, that was evil. That was legit evil. Like, my god, man. Like, that's a little bit much, even for you. I mean, even after how crusty you have been, what you just said to them about Mel was heinous. It really was. So, can we just talk about how Death Pierce, he got, like, Yamcha'd in this chapter? Like, I couldn't help but just laugh and think how pathetic he really was in this moment. When the man goes to charge Derriere to cut her and all that, and you just see his blade just snap, and he just looks at his blade, and he didn't do anything to her. Derriere didn't even block. Like, she was literally just that durable, that tanky, to where his blade just got completely snapped in half if you look at the panel, and I just like, you see Death Pierce? You're a weakling. You need to let the big boys and the big girls fight, okay? You just need to get out of here. You're complete and utter trash. And I'm just like, makes sense. I mean, the man was being horrible in the last chapter, just thinking he's better and all of that, and Lord Rudisil is giving him this divine blessing to where he can take down a bunch of demons and be completely fine, and then, saying that Elizabeth isn't really good at all, and then he just gets completely smacked in the last chapter. Now, in this chapter, he gets a, wake-up call showing that he is incredibly weak, and I just couldn't help but chuckle in that moment. But okay, so can we talk about how tanky Estarossa is, like, for a second? Like, can we talk about that? So, it was very obvious that Estarossa was going to live, okay? We knew for a fact that he wasn't going to die to Mon. It's common sense. As I said, just from a narrative perspective, if Estarossa would have died last chapter, it would have honestly not been good for the story, because Estarossa is a very unique wild card right now for this entire arc, because right now he's on nobody's side. He's on his own side, he wants to do something, and as we know, he's very twisted, and the darkness consumes him. Just, he has this very interesting personality, and I like that. It makes him for a very unique individual, and you don't know what he's going to do next. He can shake everything up, and that's why I like him. So, from a story perspective, we all knew he wasn't going to die. However, he didn't even get any wounds, apparently, from Mon at all. I figured that Mon maybe could have left a scar or something on Estarossa, but that clearly does not seem to be the case at all from this chapter. Actually, soon as Derriere arrived onto the battlefield, like she landed right where Elizabeth was, Estarossa was right there, quickly right behind Derriere, like literally probably about 30 seconds to a minute later. So it clearly shows that what Mon didn't really stall Estarossa much at all. I mean, you can see some marks on his body, maybe he regened and all that and he healed, but there's no visible signs of him really being, permanently damaged. Now, we do know when it comes to demons, when they are constantly getting chopped up or whatever they're healing, it does decrease their stamina. They do lose stamina, so we know for a fact that Estarossa probably did lose some stamina against, fighting Mon, or when Mon used that giant Hellblaze, but even then, though, Estarossa getting back up after that is just pretty freaking ridiculous, especially when you realize the beatdown he received from Escanor a while back, which leads into the next part to talk about. So, it is revealed by Sarantara in this chapter that, apparently one Archangel, they are the equivalent of 2 commandments. So, an Archangel is superior to a regular commandment. So, that would mean that Estarossa shouldn't have won against Mel. Because, from what we have already seen established, Estarossa isn't as strong as Escanor. At the very least, close to his peak. Because of what happened a while back. Now, I have faith in Nakaba-sensei that this isn't inconsistent power scaling. I do know that sometimes power scaling can get a little bit wonky, don't get me wrong there. But I don't believe it's inconsistent power scaling. As we all know, Mel had the same personality as Escanor. And he also had the same weakness. In the middle of the night, he would probably be incredibly weak. And knowing how Estarossa operates, how crusty he is as an individual, he most likely attacked Mel with his back turned, or even while he was in his weakened state, and just killed the man like that. And so Estarossa might not have ever really got to fight Mel at full strength. So that would make sense why he was able to kill him. Especially after what was established in this chapter from Sarnatar saying that they are superior to a regular commandment. And since Estarossa at the time probably only had one commandment in him, obviously he shouldn't have been able to take down Mel, which obviously is very strong. Like, he's incredibly strong from what was established, just from Escanor alone. So there you go. But, even still, even though he probably isn't as strong as, like, Escanor or Mel, he's incredibly tanky. What he did in this chapter was, surprising. I mean, he actually took a direct hit from Elizabeth. Now, I know many are going to be saying that, Chibi, it's just Elizabeth. Why are you thinking that she's going to be able to hurt someone like Estarossa? Let me, back up and reestablish something, in case any of you forgot. Remember, Elizabeth, she was fighting side by side with Meliodas when he was fighting the Demon King and the Supreme Goddess. Okay, you remember that? Like, when they were fighting side by side in what was probably the equivalent of days fighting them. And we saw how they got completely wrecked, but even then, they were putting up a fight against these two godlike beings. So, it definitely shows that Elizabeth is definitely not weak. Even also what she did in the last chapter. She healed a bunch of people while also talking to all the demons to make them lose the will to fight. So Elizabeth, her power is definitely savage. It's really, really savage. And if we're going by the theme of Meliodas and how he was like in line for the next, Demon King, then most likely Elizabeth was in line for the next Supreme Goddess. So her level being really high up. She probably is incredibly powerful. Way more powerful than a normal Archangel. Probably even stronger than Mel, since it was even said in the last chapter that Mel even praised Elizabeth. So, that's saying a lot, because of how prideful Mel is, and how Escanor is as well. But, backing up, though, even still, Elizabeth hit Estarossa, and he got back up. Not really even being damaged at all, which makes me wonder what is going on. We know for a fact he has a couple of commandments in his possession, but even then, we know it takes a while for the commandments to absorb inside. So it's not like instant thing. He's not going to get like an instant power boost. So why is he seeming so tanky right now? Why is he able to face tank what Elizabeth just did? Why is he able to face tank what Mon did to him? Why is he able to face tank two archangels at once? There's so many questions I have right now. It's just something's going on with the man, and I'm curious on how that's going to be explained. But regardless of all of that, though, the chapter is pretty freaking good. Oh, hell yeah. It's a really good chapter. I mean, number one, the artwork of this chapter was pretty nice. I like the different facial expressions from Estarossa in this chapter. I mean, especially the face when he's coming in and all that, and he notices Elizabeth, and he's like, oh, I found the true treasure and all that. I just like, yo, like, what? Like, the man's facial expressions recently have been really good, and I especially love the cover of this chapter. Oh my god, that cover of this chapter is quality. Like, Nakaba, you really went in for that cover of this chapter. Just the Estarossa cover with him looking straight up. Love it. Probably going to be thumbnail just because of how that looks. But, yeah, I do say that this chapter, overall, it mainly sets up the fight between Estarossa versus Sarnatar. And also Derriere and Elizabeth, it seems like they're about to really become an official tag team together, taking down people. So that's going to be fun. But that's about it. I mean, chapter overall simple, but enjoyable. And I do wonder if, there's any possible way or reason to why Estarossa seems tankier than he is right now. Like, why does he seem just like a monster? But I love you guys. You have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. If you enjoy my content, please subscribe. If you like this video, please leave a like. And I love you guys. Please be safe. Chibi out.